Voice of the Sea, learning from experts across the ocean.
Welcome to Voice of the Sea. In this episode, we explore how a changing ocean is impacting the island nation of Palau. We'll meet local fishermen, scientists, community leaders, and the president. We'll talk about the battle they face between overfishing and conservation amidst sea level rise and increasing demand for food. Palau's environmental challenges have implications for coastal and inland communities across the globe. Its unique placement in the Indo-West Pacific creates an environment with both an amazing diversity of species and an abundance of biomass. Scuba enthusiasts, fishermen, and scientists travel from around the world to experience the beauty of Palau's aquatic environment.
I first visited Palau in 2005 and I was excited to return. On this trip, I had the chance to speak with fishermen and community leaders about the effects of climate change and fishing pressures on Palau's natural resources. These people explained how the Palauans' way of life is threatened by reduced catch, sea level rise, and the difficulties of creating sustainable tourism. Although the Palauan fishermen understand that they must conserve, they still need to provide for their families. I talked to people across Palau to better understand the situation. We start off with Tommy Taro, fisherman, conservationist, and vice president of Palau's community college.
A lot of things have changed. The size of the cats has been smaller. The number of the cats, the number of hours we spend out there is longer. We go further. And this is a matter of 15, 20 years change. You know, our ancestors have this way of conserving resources. And they had traditional means to do so. But then, this is a new area that we have yet to know what are the remedies to those problems that are occurring today. And conservation may work in a bit, and then there are other interventions that we need to take in order to sustain and preserve what we have for future generations. Not only that, the sea level is far more extreme than what we normally have during this, the new moon, the full moon, where you expect a normal high tide. No, these are extreme, like a 1.5 foot difference in their height.
So it's coming into your buildings and things like that?
And you know, right now I live in this village. My house is right next over there. And normally it would be like 3 feet. The floor will be 3 feet above the sea level. Right now it's less than a foot. It's like 6 inches at the highest tide. My floor would be 6 inches away from the sea level, the water level. So it's a lot of things have changed. And not only that, the farmers are complaining that their taro patches have been inundated by salt water. So when you talk about climate change and people from in the States are hearing you, they're talking about ice caps melting away. No, we don't care about the ice caps melting away. The sea level has changed so much that the areas that normally kids would play on are now being, overflooded with seawater when it's high tide. So, and hopefully that's not going to impact the sea creatures, out there. But questions have been asked by people who clam, people who collect sea cucumber, and they say, the sea cucumber are no longer at their normal, usual place. They have relocated somewhere. The colors have changed. A lot of things have changed.
For Palauans, harvesting from the ocean is a way of life. Fisherman Domingo Caray shares how declining fish populations are changing his fishing practices.
When I was young, my father used to go fishing, so I go with him every day. When I go to school, after school, when I come back, we go fishing together.
Do you like to fish?
Yeah. When I go fishing, before, plenty fish. When I come, all my coolers full. But now when I go, only half of cooler.
Oh, wow.
So I start fishing. When I go out today, I come back tomorrow, 2 days. Because if I just go there now and come back, no more.
Is there anything that we can do to help the fish populations to recover?
Maybe we have to conserve. That's the only thing we can do.
And so how do you talk to your other fishermen, or how do they feel about this idea that maybe you cannot catch so many fish, or maybe you need to let them grow big enough to have the eggs?
To make a conservation area, so we fish the other place and leave this place. One and change, maybe 2-3 years, then we change. We go another place and then we conserve the other. That's what I think is better. The small fish, we have to catch a big one. We have to have a size. So we can catch a big one, not the small one. So the small one become bigger.
Can you take me inside and show me some of the different kinds of fish that you guys catch?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go take a look.
Sorry, Lomes, fish. Like this is red snapper. We used to catch with a line. And
These
also
are
the yellow-
fish-eating fish?
Yeah. And here's a skipjack. You can catch with a spear gun and bottom fishing, and also trolling. And this one milkfish. They used to catch with a net.
Oh, a big net. And then this is a grouper? Or no? Yeah.
Yeah. That one use a line or a spear, rabbit fish. This one they use a net, or we can use a spear gun.
Those come up onto the reef and eat the algae?
There are plenty, so we can use a net to go around. So we can.
Parrotfish.
Parrotfish. They use a spear gun nighttime.
Ridyal, you're a fisherman here in Palau. What kind of fishing do you do?
Okay, I prefer spearfishing, diving, and we do a lot of that here. And it's been a lot of fun, and I get a lot of fish from doing that. Yeah, I prefer spearfishing too because it's really selective, and you know you choose your fish one at a time. There's no bycatch at all, so.
What's bycatch?
Like net fishing, you catch fish that you can't sell in the market, or fish that are, you can't eat. And spearfishing, you choose every single fish you catch. It's in Palaun culture to just take what you need. So incorporating the fishermen with the conservation efforts, I don't think it's going to be that much of a struggle, because it's already ingrained in our culture that we're supposed to just take what we need, and this new fish market concept wasn't really in our culture in the past. You just go out, you take what you need, and if you take any more than that, you'll get in trouble by the local the elders. When I was younger, my father would go out and come back in just a day and catch so much fish, like several coolers full of fish, and have fish for all of the family and some of the extended family. And today, when I go out, I can't even fill up one cooler. Well, I mean, there are good days, but most of the time I don't even fill up a whole cooler by myself. I think we're fortunate to be a small enough country where all our lawmakers are really involved in their communities. So the conservation efforts, as far as making laws, is already incorporating the local fishermen. Like a couple of the people back at the fish market there are senators. So they really take everybody's input, and I think it's a blessing that our lawmakers can be in the community, actually from the communities, and interacting with the fishermen so that they know at least what the fishermen are thinking. So in that sense, they're the fishermen are contributing to the lawmaking process.
Welcome back to Voice of the Sea.
Next, Kanisa meets up with Shalom Edpison.
Shalom spent his childhood in the remote Rock Islands, growing up to serve as the economic advisor to several of Palau's presidents. Shalom is a renowned fisherman and owner of Neko Marine Dive and Sport Fishing, a major sponsor of the Palau Conservation Society and the Micronesian Voyage Society, as well as many community events in Palau.
Ali, it's so nice to be here with you, Shalom. You have so much expertise from Micronesian Voyaging Society to aquaculture to the fishing tournaments.
I can start talking about the sport fishing.
Okay.
That's the main event that we have here once a year, which, as you see here on the banner, this is actually the 22nd year that we have this tournament. We see for me, as growing up here in the islands, we see the number of fish is reduced. Size of the marlin over the years has come smaller and smaller and smaller.
And you suspect that's due to the fishing pressures?
Yes, exactly. There's so many boats out there for commercial fishing. We're trying to see if sport fishing on catch and release is something that we can attract to be something here as ways of revenues, especially for the local fishermen, as well as a tour attraction. And eventually maybe we can eliminate the commercial fishing and focus on the sport fishing.
So the fishing tournament itself is all catch and release?
Right now it's not a catch and release. Hopefully that the commercial fishing would, let's say they would stop fishing, then we can do the catch and release. Because right now all the commercial fishermen here on the longliners are actually catching the marlins and the big tunas, and they take it. So it's kind of hard for us to actually tell the locals to release their fish when it's a foreigner who comes in our waters and takes the fish away.
The University of Hawaii Sea Grant College Program, helping coastal communities of Hawaii and the Pacific through research, education, and outreach. Serving the community from elementary to graduate students. Hawaii Sea Grant.
Welcome back to Voice of the Sea. I sat down to talk with the president of Palau. I was excited to hear about shark sanctuaries and the president's battle to keep Palau pristine.
So let me first of all extend a very warm welcome to you from Hawaii to visit Palau. I hope you'd enjoy your stay in Palau.
Slong, thank you so much for having me here. It's a beautiful place. I was struck by just the environment and the number of species that you have here. And of course, Palau is renowned for the biodiversity and the protection that you have for the environment. I'd like to ask you, as the leader for the nation of Palau, how do you combine the need for Palau to maintain its economic viability and also to sustain the biodiversity and the health of the environment?
As a Palauan, I grew up in a culture where the concept of preservation is a well-known practice. It's known as BUL, B-U-L. That was a practice by the Palauan people since the beginning of time to conserve our resources by banning harvesting of certain things for some time until the crops or the fish replenish themselves. So there is a cultural base, a traditional base for conservation to protect the environment. We as Palauans are stewards of our natural resources and our environment, and that it would be a serious violation of the trust of our people to abuse our resources and our environment. So when I took office, I simply followed what was the practice in the past. During my term of office, I emphasized the conservation of the ocean resources. When I went to the United Nations to make my first appearance in September of 2009, I made a simple declaration that Palau will be the world's first shark sanctuary. And that statement, though short, echoed around the world. It has become a call upon the community of nations to conserve and protect the health of our oceans. Secondly, I also established a program to create marine sanctuaries in every state of Palau. We have 16 states. When I say states, I mean local communities, villages. By establishing these marine sanctuaries, by putting buoys around them, to ensure that every section of our lagoon will have a sanctuary to restock and replenish the marine resources in our lagoon and the reefs. I believe the Palauan people look to the ocean as the source of our sustenance, as the source of our livelihood and recreation, as our connection to the outside world. So we are very, very sensitive to the health of our oceans. Mass tourism may create a very negative impact upon our sensitive environment. And I'm very, very aware that our environment, be it the land area or the marine area, is very, very sensitive to human disturbance and human impact. So the intent is there. Now it's a matter of enforcement. Can we live up to the expectations of our people to preserve our oceans and our land areas?
The people of Palau continue their struggle with overfishing, pollution, and climate change, issues facing not only this small island nation, but the world.
You mentioned the bull, or the Palauan way of knowing when it was appropriate to harvest certain species, and how do you combine that traditional knowledge with now the Western science that is coming in and is sort of the voice of things like the United Nations?
Well, I do not see our traditional concept or practice of bull as being incompatible with the modern science. I think they go hand in hand. Our intent is to use the best scientific knowledge to improve on our conservation policy of bull. They're not incompatible. What's important is the happiness of the people. Are we happy with our environment, or are we sacrificing everything for the sake of the almighty dollar? So it's a balancing act. We need to at least know how to live within our means. We need to know that money doesn't buy everything. We need to enjoy our environment. And I think we are moving in that direction. Our young people are very, very involved in the protection of the environment. And I think what's important is to educate our young people to be very environment conscious and environment friendly, and to place the value of the environment above the dollar or the money. That's our policy, that's my policy. When I declared Palau as the world's first shark sanctuary, I was trying to protect the oceans. It became a call on the nations of the world to come together and try to protect the health of the oceans or restore the health of the oceans. So it was an environmental message, but it became the best promotion for our tourism. So it's a win-win situation. It became an icon, shark became an icon for the policy to protect the oceans. At the same time, it became a call for tourists to come and see Palau. As one observer said, a live shark is worth maybe 10 times more than a dead one.
I agree.
And when I said that in New York, I didn't expect it to echo around the world. It was a simple statement, but there was a spontaneous applause from the audience, and it became a story which caught fire, so to speak, by the media, by BBC, CNN, all the major news media around the world. And I made one simple statement to BBC, which became quotable. I said, a need to defend sharks much outweighs the need to enjoy a bowl of soup. And now we have followers. We have Honduras, we have Maldives, we have the Bahamas, we have Colombia, we have Mexico, we have the Marshall Islands, you have the Federated States of Micronesia. It has caught fire. So maybe that statement was an expression of an idea. This time has come to put our attention on the oceans of the world.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you was your advice for the other Pacific people. I live in Hawaii, and we look to Palau as a place that has maintained its culture and also maintained its environment, and perhaps this idea of the preservation of the sharks is a symbol of that.
Yes, at the same time, when it comes to culture, I study a little history of our people, and I'm very, very amazed that in spite of a series of colonial powers which have come and gone, we have maintained our language and our culture. The most, I would say, amazing experience of the Palawan people is that during the Japanese administration from 1914 until 1944 or 45, Palau became like a Japanese island. There were maybe more than 40 or 50,000 settlers from Japan in Palau, less than 5,000 Palauans. At the end of the war, there were less than 5,000 Palauans in the entire world. And so our parents spoke Japanese, they adopted Japanese customs and foods and things like that, but they maintain our tradition, our language, our history, our legends, our mythology, etc. So we have that inner strength. And I believe that we should preserve our culture. It's the soul of the Palawan people. Because if we lose our language and our culture, we just be a Pacific Islander or just a citizen of the world. And I think it gives you a great satisfaction to know that you are a unique people and that God loves us.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure and my honor to have this interview, and I hope somebody will benefit from this interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Aloha kat mambasula.
Palau is now working to ban commercial fishing vessels in its waters. This is an area of more than 2,300 square miles, roughly the size of France. The ban will be hard to enforce with Palau's limited resources. However, the benefit could be huge, with individual living sharks now worth an estimated $1.9 million each, thanks to Palau's $85 million a year dive tourism industry. For Palau, a commercial fishing ban may be both economically and ecologically beneficial. Thanks for watching Voice of the Sea. Exploring Our Fluid Earth is a dynamic curriculum developed by the University of Hawaii's Curriculum Research and Development Group, teaching ocean science concepts through the disciplines of physics, chemistry, biology, and ecology. Exploring Our Fluid Earth is now available freely online. Find out more at exploringourfluidearth.org.
The Curriculum Research and Development Group in the College of Education at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. CRDG has been providing quality educational programs and services for over 40 years, serving students, teachers, parents, educators, and experts around the world and here in Hawaii. The Curriculum Research and Development Group, improving schools, improving education. CRDG,